Welcome to another episode of Liberty Lounge. My name is Jimmy Sarles. I'm the founder of Liberty Networking. Today we have April Dodson, who owns Bidslot Marketing. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, for sure. Well, April, tell us, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a little town called St. James in Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A
It's not
small
as
town?
small as it was
Yeah,
when I lived there. It's actually kind of big. Like
yeah,
I don't know what the population is, but it was a very small town whenever I was there.
yeah. So, what was it like growing up as far as in your story, from getting from Missouri to South Carolina, just kind of that brief story, and then also were you influenced? Did you have entrepreneurs and things like that in your life as role models?
I did. I did. So actually, I come from a very long history in my family of people owning their own businesses and making it happen. And I think I'm very much like my mom, my dad, my
Mm,
grandfather, all entrepreneurs doing things to make it happen. So I always tell people that I was born an entrepreneur. I've always
okay.
been a lot different than
Mm,
most people that you meet. And it really came from kind of a rough childhood, having to make it happen for myself. And if I wasn't going to make it happen, it wasn't going to happen for
yeah.
me. So when I was about five, I started walking around to my neighbors and asking if I could rake the leaves for money, to buy my
Nice.
mom a birthday present,
Yeah.
because there was going to be no other way I could do that. And so I would rake leaves and get about $5 and go to Wilma's candy store and get my mom a little gift, and then also get some of those long Jolly Rancher sticks, which I don't
Mm,
know that they make anymore, but they
yeah.
were so good. And watermelon was my favorite.
Nice.
So my I don't know the entire history of my grandfather, but I do know that he was widely successful. My grandfather and grandmother lived in St. Louis, Missouri, and I don't know what he did in St. Louis to be so successful, but he wanted to move to the country and bought 320 something acres in St. James, Missouri, and that's what took the Zaretz side of my family to Missouri, or to St. James, Missouri, and they had like two trailers, a house, a schoolhouse, and a shop. And they had a trucking company that my dad and my uncle worked for. And then they also had a junkyard where they used to scrap metal and take it to St. Louis and, get the money for the scrap metal, which was a big thing back then, and also a good way of living. So I used to do those types of things with my dad all the time. I was in a truck a lot,
Mm,
and things like that. So I always saw everybody working for themselves and living a good life.
yeah. Yeah. So that's awesome. So then, how did you? What's your journey to from there to South Carolina?
So in 2007, my husband and I had merged our commercial kitchen hood cleaning company to with a larger company in the hopes to like have a national company. And when we got into the corporate office, it really wasn't the culture that we were looking for, and or thought we were going into. And so we ended up merging the company and selling it. Signed a
Oh,
no compete. South Carolina was one state outside of the no compete. So we moved to South Carolina and we did the whole thing all over again with starting a commercial hood cleaning company. We grew it, we sold it, and then my husband opened up New Groove Artisan Brewery. And I still do all of the things that I've always done in Bidslot.
wow. So y'all've had quite a few different businesses there over the years. So you started. So that was that a franchise initially, or
No.
was that something
Uh,
you
oh, go ahead. Say your
initially?
whole
Yeah, the
question.
first. Yeah, the first one that you started for hood cleaning.
It was not a franchise. Now, so in 2002, my Dad had spoke at a church in White House, Tennessee, where he met Roger Gonzalez, who was the founder of CHDCA and hoodcleaningschool.com. CHDCA stands for Certified Hood and Duct Cleaners Association.
Thank
Roger
you.
had invited my dad over for lunch after church, and my dad got his business card because he knew Josh was unhappy in the oil industry. And so when dad brought the card back, we called about it. Now, at that time, they were selling a franchise. And I don't like franchises. And I was like, I'm not giving anyone any of the money from my hard earned sales,
Right.
and I was going on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so we listened to everything that Rusty, who is Roger's son-in-law, said about the Hood School and
Mm.
how it works and the franchise and stuff like that. And so Josh and I set two goals. He needed a new car, and then we also wanted to buy a house because we were living in a one-bedroom apartment. So we said, let us do those two things, and then we will revisit this. And
Yeah.
so that was 2 years later. Josh had a new truck, and we bought our first house in St. Louis in Arnold, Missouri. And so we made that phone call again. When we made the phone call the second time, it was not a franchise opportunity anymore. It was a business in a box type thing.
Oh wow.
So we paid about, we paid about $40,000 for Josh to go get trained. He got the trailer and a nice set of equipment to clean commercial hoods, and was trained on how to clean commercial hoods.
Mm.
The way that Bidslot started was their marketing idea was to send out 3,000 postcards and wait for phone calls to come in. And this is where Bidslot was born. And our motto is people of accomplishment go out and make things happen. So I
Yeah.
was not waiting for the phone to ring. And I was trying to think, how do I help my husband grow this business so that he can quit the oil industry, and we can be our own business owners and be in charge of our own schedule, because time freedom was very important to us, so that we could be with our kids whenever we wanted, and do all of those fun things with our kids. And I was a stay-at-home mom.
Sure.
And so that's when I went downstairs to our home office, and I basically, this is before Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and all of those things. So I basically just I opened up Yellow Pages, I typed in the zip code closest to our home, and then I typed in restaurants, and I printed those pages because we didn't have a CRM at that time. We did within about a month of me starting to cold call like I was, because we were
Uh,
so successful. And so I just started calling the restaurants on the list and making notes, and basically everybody was saying yes. And that's how we grew our commercial kitchen hood cleaning company, and that's basically the only way that we grew our commercial hood cleaning company for many, many, many years. And it's by far the largest way that we grew our commercial kitchen hood cleaning company.
so you started two of those in the same industry and sold them, and out of that you saw a need for what Bidslot does, and it sounds like you're an entrepreneur and you found a way to solve a problem, right?
I did solve a problem. And so from 2002 to 2008, I only did cold calling for our commercial hood cleaning company. When
Wow.
we moved to South Carolina in 2009, Josh was looking for another way for me to basically have a nice stay at home, we thought, business where I would do cold calling for companies.
Yeah.
And so when we started Bidslot, though, within 6 months, we had so many clients, I needed more people to help cold call. We bought the office building that we're in June of 2010, after offering our services to the public in December of 2009. And then we started out as only appointment setting for commercial hood cleaners. But then we realized that we can actually do cold calling for anybody that has a service or a product. Then, because we worked with so many people in the home service industry, a lot of them do business out of their home. They're not going to invite someone in to handle their office tasks. They were working at night and day, and they didn't have time to do invoicing. They were missing a bunch of calls, and everything that you need to handle in an office wasn't getting done because we were keeping them busy by helping them grow with appointment setting. So we started our virtual office and answering service. And we have a large list of things that we can do for companies when it comes to sales growth, answering the phone, and other types of tasks that you would think of an administrative staff helping you with. We do it remotely, but we are pros in the service industry, and I only hire salespeople that are good at administrative tasks too. So we basically are a sales center that can help you with any inbound, outbound marketing.
So it's not just you sitting there on the phone by yourself all day, right? You have a team. About how many people do you have making calls every day?
So eight during the day, and then normally three in the evening, and then I also work with a team of developers, people that specialize in ad placement with like Google. In house, we do like Facebook advertising, social media management, and I'm also a software creator
Mhm.
where I've created four softwares. One of them is SaaS, where I sell to other companies so that they can use it to help them grow. And it's called Group Grabber. That's my newest software that I have created and launched. Right now, we specialize in pulling any type of group off of Facebook, and it puts it on a dashboard for you to manage how you're not only going to work in the group, but also post in the group. And we do something called profiling. And profiling means that we find the relevant groups that would be your Gucci buyer, and we will share your post from your business page into a group. And then we work the group. So anybody that likes, tags, comments, or shares, they go into a database, and we don't stop there. We try to get their email and their phone. So we're also helping you build a list you would not be able to receive any other way otherwise.
And that's
By the end
organic.
of
Yeah.
Thank you. And so by the end of this year, I'm actually going to have a LinkedIn version built out, which I'm super excited about. I have a list of people waiting to pay me as soon as that rolls out.
Man, that's awesome. So I know you're a call center. You're basically an office for any a solopreneur. You know, some one guy that's out pressure washing, or a very large company with many employees. You can be their office and answer their calls. And as long as you got the scripts, you can do all of that. And I mean, like I said, you said social media, invoicing. You do so much. What are maybe like the top five things that you do?
Sure. So appointment setting, how we started, right?
Yep.
Answering service and virtual office. So basically you hand your directions to us, and we do whatever it is, whether it's just live message taking, which means we take a name, number, and pass it over, or we can do the full solution and it never even reaches the owner. So
Mm.
appointment setting, virtual office, answering service. And we specialize in following up to close the deal and also work your current customer database. So even if you had some other way that leads were coming in, but you do not have the time to follow up on those, we are the leaders when it comes to following up to close the deal. And we can work your current customer database and cross sell and do all kinds of things with them. Remind them that they used you last year and haven't went back on your schedule yet. And the list goes on, really. But those would be the top five things we do.
Awesome. So, do you just have a handful of businesses that you work with locally here in South Carolina, or do you help people in other places?
We work in all 50 states, Canada, Mexico, and the United Kingdom.
Wow.
We've also had clients from China that needed a US based answering service, and it's actually a personal friend of mine that's been in business for a long time. And he and I do work on and off together. And so yeah, so we can work with really anyone.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so you're really truly an international business. Um, and so do you have people that can work? I mean, obviously you schedule them to work in the different time zones and things like that.
Yeah, so since COVID, we're not 24/7. We will be moving back to 24/7. So we're in our office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 4. Each one of our clients has a voicemail that's set up just for their company. And so if anybody called when we're not in the office, then it'll go to voicemail and we return the call the next business day. We have been 24 hours before and we were for years, but we haven't seen the need
Mm,
for the cost that it takes for an overnight employee. It hasn't made sense yet. There
yeah,
are times of year that we extend our hours without advertising it, and it's so we don't come into so many voicemails during the in the morning.
yeah. That's awesome. So, man, y'all really do a lot of different things. Well, let's talk a little bit. You mentioned earlier about your husband Josh runs the New Groove Artisan Brewery. Tell us a little bit about that place.
Yeah, so in 2011, I bought Josh a Mr. Beer kit for Christmas,
And that was
and
history.
that's how it started. And so he first brewed my two favorite beers, and I really couldn't believe how good it was. So I
Yeah,
encouraged him quite a bit.
yeah.
And he asked, like, hey, can I get this big pot system thing, that goes on the stove, and I want to try brewing other beers, but you can't use that for
Mm.
this. And he also made like root beer and cream soda and things like
Oh,
that for the
love it.
girls.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's actually how New Groove started. And in the beginning, we were calling it J Dog Brewery because Josh's like high school nickname was J Dog, and also Panzer, our Great Dane, was our mascot,
Okay.
and so we were going with that. And so through that experience of like starting to brew beer, Josh was kind of went all in, really enjoyed the process because he's very analytical, thinks much like an engineer, and so we joined the Spartanburg Brew Club, where we met a group of people that were like Josh and us that enjoyed brewing beer and also trying good craft beer at local places. So we would meet once a month, and my husband and I met Jonathan Duke, his partner now, and those two both had the same idea of opening up a brewery.
Okay.
Jonathan was in teaching, and Josh was in hood cleaning. Both of them were ready to make a move in their career. And so when we sold the hood cleaning company and Duke retired as a teacher, they put their money into opening up a New Groove Artisan Brewery in Boiling Springs, and it's a very fun business. It's a lot different than dealing with hood cleaners,
Yeah.
and scheduling and all of those types of things. You have a line of people out the door beating on your door, ready to work for you, and things like that. And plus, it's just like fun. We're family friendly, and but that's kind of like how it started, and we're in our seventh year of business now.
Wow. 7 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So y'all got all kinds of things going on. So I also know you own a yoga studio. So go ahead and tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've been doing yoga since we moved to South Carolina in 2009, and it was just kind of a fun workout for me to do. I like hot yoga where we get the room 99 to 104, and then we do high cardio yoga. That's my
Mm.
favorite. It's called
Oh
Power
wow.
Flow.
Yeah.
And I used to have to drive all the way to Greenville to my favorite studio, which, I live off Highway 11. So that's like a 50-minute drive one way to go to yoga. And I was
Wow.
doing it 2 to 3 times a week. And I did it for a long time. I really didn't know that I wanted to open up a yoga studio, but I had learned techniques in yoga that had changed my life because I was a super stressed out business owner.
Yeah.
And so I learned things like progressive relaxation. I learned how to meditate. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to be able to turn off your mind and actually enjoy meditating and not having so many thoughts fly in your head and things like that, like being in complete control of your mind and your body. And in in 2020 when COVID happened, I decided I was going to spend a little time going through a certification process with my favorite yoga teacher who owns a yoga school, and I became certified. I thought I just wanted to do it for my own knowledge, but then when we had sold the hood cleaning company, and I had this open space in my office building of this old gross shop that used to have all the hood cleaning supplies in it. Well, I found myself cleaning it out and couldn't stop and kept going and just built out a yoga studio.
Yeah.
I painted the floor. It's beautiful. It's a very
Yeah.
small space. It's only 700 square foot. But I decided to, like open up the yoga studio because I wanted to help. I have a mission to help stressed out business owners learn how to deal with stress. Every single day, every employee that you have comes to you with at least three problems that you have to solve. And so when you start timesing that by, 5, 8, 10, 15 people, that adds up like really quick, and you feel like you're only putting out fires and it's hard to get things done. There's several different techniques that we use through yoga that help you learn how to deal with the stress so that your blood pressure doesn't raise and that you learn how to deal with things head on. And it's really changed my life. And I also have a mission to help anybody with a disability. My brother was diagnosed with MS, and I wanted to be able to help him through yoga, because balance is a huge issue when you have
Yeah.
progressive MS like my brother does.
Wow. I can tell you're a little bit passionate about it.
I really love yoga.
Yeah.
It's changed my life.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've told you this before. My wife is a certified yoga teacher as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Well,
Yeah.
we need to get together.
Yeah. So I know. So you have that's three different businesses that we've discussed. What else do you have going on that we don't know about?
Sure. So I also own the school my husband went through in 2002 to become a trained hood cleaner. In 2014, I think it was, my friend Rusty, who's a personal friend, Roger passed away, and Rusty didn't want to do this alone. And Rusty also became a nurse practitioner. So I was the first person that they thought of when he thought about selling CHDCA, hood cleaning supplies, and hood cleaning school. And so I brought in three partners that own the world's largest commercial hood cleaning company.
Wow.
Um, and so now it's only me and one other partner, who is still the vice president of the world's largest commercial hood cleaning company,
So you're still in
Doc
the
Rice.
industry. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so Doc Reisman and I are the
Wow.
owners of CHDCA, Hood Cleaning School, and Hood Cleaning Supplies. At this
Okay.
time, we're not doing much with the supply store. It's kind of like a whole separate business, but we're deep into the Hood Cleaning School and training, and then also our association. We had laid low for a while, but we're launching it. It started out like real good, and stuff like that, and then we had some things we needed to fix. And now that it's just Doc and I, we're like so excited. And we've
Nice.
been doing a lot of things on the back end that we'll be launching soon for the training, building out modules in our system for online training, courses, and things like that. I have my staff trained really to sell CHDCA and hood cleaning school training for me. It doesn't require Doc and I to do much, maybe answer questions here and there. But it kind of works on its own, and it's a good little business.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is if someone wants to go through that training, it's 100% online.
No, so it's
Oh,
based
okay.
on experience. And so if you are looking to get into commercial kitchen hood cleaning, it's a super safe business to get into. It's a federal regulation that the hoods have to be cleaned to bare metal, and you have to follow the code NFPA 96, National Fire Protection Association Code 96. And that's the code that you have to adhere by as a commercial kitchen hood cleaning company. So if you have already been cleaning hoods for at least 6 months to a year, you would qualify for the online course.
Wow.
But if you are new to doing commercial kitchen hood cleaning and you've never done commercial kitchen hood cleaning, you're going to go to our school, which is based in Gurnee, Illinois,
Oh
in
wow. So
person.
is that where he live there?
So he actually lives in Wisconsin,
Oh
but
wow.
the company that he's vice president of, called Averis, they are in Gurnee, Illinois,
Gotcha. Okay.
and that's the
So
facility.
but people can fly out there from anywhere and take the course and everything.
We trained, so anybody can go there. We've trained people from 26 different countries. We
Wow.
trained the entire Dubai government on how to train the commercial kitchen hoods,
Are you
and they took it
serious?
back to their country and they created a standard for hood cleaning themselves in their country, which it
That's
used
a,
to not be a thing for them.
that's amazing.
Yeah. They flew here. They were in my office right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so good. Wow, you've done a lot of different things. I didn't realize you were still in that industry, so that's great. Um,
I am. Josh isn't.
okay, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But between the both of you, y'all got a lot going on, right? and
We do.
and still have a family. How many kids you have?
Three
Three.
girls.
Three girls. Yep. So I don't know if I hadn't really talked a whole lot about this before, but I had a partner for a business. We called it S&S Certifications, and
Okay.
it was getting certified for the Safe Serve certifications if you worked in
Oh
a restaurant.
yeah.
Well,
Nice.
we contracted somebody to teach that in Spanish because
Okay.
there was no, but it never really took off. Of course, we didn't do a ton of promotion and stuff, but we had a couple classes and yeah, that is an interesting idea. You just really got to be able to tap into that market, the need
Yeah.
for.
We actually work with a company that does that, Jimmy, and we do appointment setting
Oh,
for them.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, and we do Julius Tolbert with Cornbread
Oh,
Consulting.
I know him. Yeah.
Okay, so he does that. He goes
Yeah.
on. He'll go on site and train you, and there's probably maybe an online part. I don't know. I don't know everything
Right.
about his actual course, but we set appointments for him to go meet with people.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Yeah, there were no classes in Spanish. That was kind of like, so one of my merchant services, actually the very first one I ever had is a Mexican restaurant, and Gustavo came to me with the idea, and you know, we gave it a good college try at the
Good.
time,
Yeah.
So that was fun though. Well, that's awesome. So what else you got going on?
Well, my main focus and my day to day is the answering service.
Right.
And so I have considered kind of Liberty Networking group my job
Mm.
per se,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to tap in hard to putting it on my schedule to be able to go to other chapter meetings. And I started doing this just literally about a month to 6 weeks ago, and I the one of the meetings that I went to in Greenville with the trade service, I
Yeah.
had 3 to 5 people on my schedule. I've sold 2 people my services, and so I am so excited. I was able to go to Charlotte and go to the Matthews chapter and take a client there and get them to sign up and then show them how to do the networking, because believe it or not, I'm a consultant as well, of course, putting business plans together, helping you define your market and things like that. And through that process, I talk to people that have never heard of networking, like
Wow.
never heard of going to a place to pass business cards. And I know that sounds foreign, but I've had more than a handful of people going through this process that have, like, I've never done. I literally met with somebody 2 days ago at Spill the Beans that has not ever went networking, and I'm like, that is where you need to go. So I invited
Yeah.
them to
It-
my
it-
Liberty Networking
that's
chapter, the
awesome.
Freedom
Yeah.
League.
Yeah, it's
And
about
so
building relationships, right? I
it
mean,
really is.
mhm,
And so that's what I really do have going on right now. My answering service, my virtual office, my appointment setting services is my main focus. It's what I do every single day. I decided to, I'm only in my actual office on Mondays and Thursdays, and on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and the other days I'm trying to make other Liberty chapter meetings where
yeah.
I can, so that I can grow my company. And you only want to do that if you want to grow.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I tell people that all the time, especially when we onboard and stuff, say you have the ability to visit, all the chapters unlimited, especially here in the upstate, there's a lot of options. But like you said, in Charlotte, or if you were, we have chapters in Columbia and Charleston, South Carolina, and we will be expanding to other states when that time is right. So that's something I tell all the members. I'm like, this is a much bigger network than just your chapter if you take advantage of it. So a
I
lot of
really
people
wouldn't have
don't.
known that. I really
Mhm.
wouldn't have known that if I don't remember if it was you or if I saw it online, that I was able to visit all the other chapters, because when you first are onboarded, it's a lot of information and you're like just
Yeah,
going to the meetings with your chapter. And that's already
sure.
an hour and a half of your time a week, right?
Yep.
So I just basically love the way Liberty works because it's every other week, hour and a half in the same spot. And then I can visit any chapter I want to. And I really, really am excited about the trade service chapters, and some of the other things that you have going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. That the trades, that's something new. We're forming that chapter. We've never done a chapter for something specific type of industry, but it's going well. I mean, we've had 15, 17 people at the meetings. So we're looking
So that's
forward
a
to,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, it's growing for sure. It'll be there. It'll be launching as an official chapter before long.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but so if you're a realtor or something like that, they're in every chapter, and it doesn't mean you can't visit. You just can't talk about your industry. So it's a lot more difficult. But whenever you get into an industry like you're currently the only call center, and I mean we could have one in every chapter, but we don't. So
Yeah,
it's so much easier for somebody in a unique industry to come in and do a lot of business if they take the time to meet people and build the relationships. And a big part of that too is explaining what you do well. If you're not clear and concise on what you do, the chances of them wanting to get more information is not going to be great.
right.
uh, so yeah, but visiting other chapters is huge, and then also you have access to the whole Liberty Networking directory. That you could just go through and contact people, in Charleston or whatever, and do a virtual call, different things like that. So, but
And also look up someone to use, like if you
yeah,
needed a plumber or call center or like whatever it may be.
100%, yeah, that's so good, yeah. So that's great. So how has, I know you kind of touched on it there, but how has Liberty Networking and networking in general, how has that benefited your business?
So it's interesting. I'm not sure why, but for all these years, I really wasn't going out locally too much, soliciting my business. And I made a shift last year and thought every Wednesday, this is how it started. Thought every single Wednesday, I'm gonna go out and I'm like doing door to door to businesses,
Oh wow.
and I'm gonna pitch my business and try to make it happen. And the first week that I did that, I literally signed up two people, and then I had a third one that signed up a week later. And so it really opened my eyes. And I wasn't, like too disappointed that I hadn't done it before too much, but I was very happy that I got started. And so I started going out every Wednesday. And then Altoff Kapasi is a friend of mine. And so he asked me to be a part of his chapter. I liked that the dues were $400. I liked that you meet every other week, in the same in the same spot and at the same time, because managing your schedule's hard if it's always changing.
For
It's
sure.
hard to like make sure you're available. And so when I got into the Liberty networking group, I met a contact the very first week that became my client, that more than paid for my membership for the next
Oh,
like 20 years.
I love that.
Um,
That's so good.
and so I started seeing, oh, well, I can visit these chapters. So then I'm like diving deeper in my schedule, trying to make that happen. And it's been game changing, and I'm super excited about where I'm at with not just networking with Liberty, but also going door to door locally, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of local business, out there. I got some really big opportunities on my plate just from networking, and making a little shift in my business to. We do work in all 50 states. Most of the people are not even in our state that we work with. And so I think I was leaving a lot on the table. And
Yeah.
so we've made a little bit of a shift, and it's been game changing and
And
amazing.
but that's
And
so
I'm
good
happy.
because the key takeaway that I got from that is you took action. You could sit there and be thinking about, what if I'm networking, what if I was going door to door, but no, you went and did it, and you're
Yeah.
not going to meet those people if you don't, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
There's not another way to meet them.
and there's so you got to realize, and I say this to people watching, there's so many opportunities when you meet somebody. You don't know where one next person you meet, that connection is going to lead to. And you could go talk to 10 businesses and maybe none of them are interested in Bidslot, but you might talk to three of them that are didn't know about your husband's brewery and they want to go check that out. And then another one, and just in conversations like, oh well, I've been looking for a yoga studio, and then they're a new
Yeah.
client there. So there's so many different ways that you can help people make connections. You find out what their needs are and you help them with something. And you got another thing too is this has become, this area, the upstate of South Carolina has become such a melting pot. And there's people moving here from all over the place and starting new businesses, but those people know people from where they moved from that need your services too.
Right.
So and with our technology of in the virtual world, we know people. I mean, I've interviewed people all over the world, and it's they don't have to be local, but when you start local, it also helps your business name locally too, though, right?
Oh yeah, and it's been, game changing. When I started doing this last year, my family was featured in Boiling Springs Living magazine, and it's
Well, nice.
because of me going out and like door knocking, and
Yeah,
people were talking about it online, talking about not just me but our services and things like that. And an editor had made a post on who should be in this magazine, and my name came up, and so you never know. And also, one thing that I love, because I'm a salesperson, is a no now is not a no forever. And so even if you walk into a restaurant, whatever, or any type of business, and they're like no, and also if they're telling you no and they're not a decision maker, that doesn't count. You just got to
yeah,
figure out how you got
that,
to get to the decision maker,
that's so
because don't
good.
ever let somebody tell you no that
Yeah.
doesn't make the decision.
That is so good. That is true. Awesome. What's a networking tip you would give somebody that was thinking about starting to go networking, and they're maybe a little shy, and they come to a meeting. What do you recommend?
Is that we're all just people, and that there's nothing to be nervous about. Also, don't go for the hard sell. It is relationship building. So even if you want who you're talking to really bad as a client, don't be too pushy.
Yeah,
Let the relationship, let the relationship build. Uh, every single person that you talk to at a networking meeting, make sure that when you get their business card, that you go back to your office and you put them in your CRM, and you periodically follow up with them to build that relationship. Don't leave it just at that one meeting ever.
yeah,
Be pleasantly persistent, and work the card that you received and the contact that you received. And if they do not have a physical card, have some sort of system in place for those dang QR codes.
Yeah.
card things that I hate so much. Like those, because there's no good system on like how you go back through to figure out who it was you met if you forgot their name.
Mm.
So what I started doing with those QR card people is I put like Liberty Networking or like the or like wherever it is I met them, so
Yeah.
that if I wanted to pull it up, I can just pull up where I remember I went to meet them. Because I haven't seen those card things, you know, that like a business electronic card. I haven't seen them work very well because you forget what their name was because you just met 50 new people. So have some sort of system in place for those, because there's going to be some people there with only an electronic card, and I
Yeah.
don't like them.
Yeah. Well, that's fair, and I think you nailed it though with it not being salesy. Don't sell. That's one of the first two tips I give people is don't sell at a network meeting or social meetup or anything. I know people personally that over the years have never renewed in the network in Liberty Networking because they are like, well, I'm not getting any business, but their tactics were, I just want to sell. There was no relationship. It was very pushy, and when you sit down to do an RBM relationship building meeting with somebody to get to know them, and all they want to do is talk about selling you their services, uh, doesn't sit well with most people or
No.
anybody. You
Yeah.
know.
No. And I agree. And I think that's a good tip, like number one. And number two is don't let the card go. And make sure that you do work the contacts that you receive, because you took your time out and you were just in the room with a bunch of people that could use the services or products that you have to offer. So you don't want to just meet them once and then see them a year down the road and remember that, oh man, I wanted to do business with them. Work
So
the
so if
information
you
you receive.
if you go to a Liberty Networking social and you come away with a stack of 10 business cards and they sit on your desk and you don't follow up with them, how much business will you do with them?
Yeah, none. you
Right.
know
Yeah.
None. And so in our office we call it being pleasantly persistent, which
Oh,
means
nice.
that we never let you go till you become a paying client, but it could be 7 years from now.
Yeah.
It could be same day that they're like, I can't believe you do this, I've been looking for this.
Yeah.
There could be the same type of company in the same room with you that is already doing business with them, so you can still talk to them and then you still build the relationship with them.
That's so true. Yeah. Fortune is in the follow up, right? That's so good. Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate everything and your time. This has been a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you around some Liberty Networking meetings.